Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm glad that you found us here on YouTube and have joined our tribe of survivors. Before I start today's talk, I just want to remind everyone to please like and share and subscribe, as the bigger that we can make this channel, the more people we can reach and try to help. And that's one of the topics I want to talk about today, is how I found out that my ex was a narcissist. Because it seemed so obvious to everybody else that he was a narcissist, except for me. And that's the tricky part of it a lot of the time, is when you're inside the relationship, you can't see that they're a narcissist. You know, it's hidden from you. And especially in my case, because he was a covert narcissist, and they tend to wear a very tight mask more than the overt narcissists do, you know, because my ex was, you know, he was a yoga instructor, he was a vegan, he was a humanitarian, you know, environmentalist, and he was all those things. And, you know, for all the years that I knew him, I never thought that he could have been a narcissist, even though he had to be in front of the public, or a crowd of people, or teaching, or things like that at all times. But he was a very specific type of narcissist that, you know, was kind of dulled down, but still drank up the fuel from everybody. And so it was quite hidden to me, but to everybody else, they saw it, you know. And, you know, in our private, you know, relationship, when he talked about how he had to go in front of crowds of people and things like that, he would make it seem like it was a burden for him, and he's just doing it because it's like his job, and that he just needs to make money, otherwise he wouldn't do it, which obviously is not true. But that's how, you know, one of the things that he was saying to me, in order to kind of throw me off the scent of the fact that he needs so much gratification from the outside world. So in my particular situation, I was discarded. And if you were on the live stream that I had last week, or have listened to some of my other videos, I'll give you guys just a little bit of a quick recap. I was with my ex for 7 years, and I had quit my job for him to work with him on his businesses. He was a YouTuber as well, and I held the camera for him for like 4,000 videos that he had put online, but I didn't want to be in front of the camera, so I had to spend all my time behind the scenes and promote him, in which I thought we were a team, you know, doing that. I thought we were in it together. It wasn't the fact that he was a narcissist. It was the fact that I didn't want to be on camera, so I was the videographer. And he made it seem like he was sacrificing having to be on camera in order to get success for businesses and whatnot, which was all a complete facade. And now I can see that, but when I was in the relationship, I couldn't see it. I thought we were just working hard. As time went on, I started becoming extremely unhappy, because I just couldn't hold that camera for him anymore and look at him through the lens and see him really behaving like a narcissist. But again, he kept on telling me that he was doing this for his job and for us to get money through views and advertisements and whatnot. So when I wanted to quit holding that camera, and after I had spent a couple months just being unhappy and wanting to actually have something for myself, you know, that wasn't all just completely dedicated to him, he left me on a dime. He left me overnight. And now I had no idea that was going to happen. Like, the day he asked me out of the blue for a divorce, it was a normal day. Nothing out of the ordinary happened that day. We had sex that morning. We had sex the night before. There was nothing to give me a warning sign that he would have left. The only thing that was changing in our lives is that I didn't want to be the videographer anymore for him. And And so, and I, and at the time I knew, I didn't think it could have been possibly have been that. Like I was just like a lot of us that are in these relationships, we're just completely blindsided and in total shock at first. Like I was in total shock. And I'm reeling and I'm in disbelief, and then I start, the crying begins, right? That your marriage of 7 years is ending and in turmoil. And I was trying to figure it out. I was really I refuse to believe that my putting so much effort into this relationship, in this marriage and our whole lives, houses, cars, everything, careers, job, building all these businesses that we were running together. I mean, you can't just walk away from all that. So I was in disbelief. And within a couple of weeks, I found out that he had a new supply already. He had moved out and he had moved in with her after the first month. It was so unbelievable that I honestly couldn't handle it. So at the time, I haven't actually told this story for a while. I'm going to try not to cry. So at the time, I had a friend. She was an older friend. She was almost 60. And she was a life coach. And she did couples therapy. And I knew her as part of this like a women's group that I was a member of for girls that network together for their businesses. And so I had known her for quite a while, and so she had seen me with my husband at the time, and she had met him. And so when me and my ex had broken up, I was in turmoil. I went to go talk with her because I was so devastated, and I figured she can help me because she was my friend, but she was not like a close friend, like to the point where I talked to her every day or every week. She was just in my women's group. So I was talking with her, and I'm devastated, and I'm talking with her about what I can do to get him back, because I wanted him back. I refuse to believe that this marriage is over, and that this fling that he has with this girl on the side was temporary or a distraction. And I'm like, and I was asking her what steps I need to do to get him back, to fix my marriage, to coach me through this. And I started telling her, the details of what my marriage was, and and I had always talked extremely fondly of my husband to her when I was still married, and I was, just whenever I'd see her. And so she's in a place knowing him slightly, but, I'm not going to her talking badly of him. I'm actually putting him in an amazing light, that he's this amazing person, and how do I get this amazing person back? It seems really stupid now, but at the time, this is where I was. Now, she's the one, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do this. No, she's the one who told me to go home and get online and tell me, or to get online and tell me to go and research what a covert narcissist was, because that's what he is. And, of course I knew what a narcissist was, but I didn't know that there was a covert narcissist. So I refused. I told her, no, he's not a narcissist. And she looked at me and she goes, yes, he is. But you need to find out what they are. And so I did that, and it took me a long time to accept that. And I should tell you guys that 4 months after I had this talk with her, she died of ovarian cancer. That's why I'm having a hard time. I haven't talked about this woman in a long time. And I kind of nursed her to her death. But she's the one who helped me through my, those beginning stages of my my breakup. When you're going through the despair part of it after the discard. So that's why I'm a little bit choked up here, because I haven't talked about her in over a year, so this is hard. But so she's the one who told me. It took a person that was completely removed from my relationship, from really my close life or his life. She didn't really know a lot about him, but she was a life coach and a couples therapy, and so she was able to recognize it, because you can't just throw around a covert or overt narcissism very easily. There are sociopaths out there that are very similar. There's a lot of traits, personality traits that are similar, but this was something specific. And maybe, looking back, maybe I can call myself lucky that she actually knew what it was and knew enough about it to be able to try to fast track me to learning about it and coming to the understanding of it, that I was a victim in this marriage, and that I don't need to fix who I am because I wasn't able to hang on to a narcissist. So she is the one who helped me through all of that. And the thing is, and I remember this one thing that she told me that helped me the most. She took out a piece of paper and she drew a big circle on it. And then she started drawing arrows towards the inside of the circle. And she goes, "This is you, and you have to go inwards, because you have spent the last 7 years looking out at him, at trying to build him up or build up your relationship." And she's like, you gotta, and what she was doing was, each arrow was the fuel that I was leaching out to everybody else, and him and everything that he was about and things that he did. And and she goes, you got to turn all those arrows inward and let the fuel stay inside and work on yourself. You got to go inward. She goes, that's the only way to start to heal. Because at that point I was still trying to I was looking outward of things that I can do for other people, for him, for things to make my life better. I was looking at completely outward in every aspect. And she's the one who got me to turn all those arrows and all that fuel inward to replenish myself. She goes, because you've been with a narcissist for 7 years and you're drained. So I had quite a few talks with her, and we got to be really good friends. And then she got diagnosed with cancer, and it was a wickedly fast cancer. She just after just a couple months, she was on her way out, and she died soon after. And I miss her so much because then I had to carry on alone, it felt like. And that's one of the reasons why I really went to YouTube, because I still wasn't healed. I wasn't finding my way out of everything and working my way through everything, and I had lost my my rock that I had to heal from our relationship. Shit. Sorry. So yeah, and that's one of the reasons I do these talks. I put it on YouTube because it's hard to find a place to go to have someone who understands what it's like, not just to go through these breakups, but to find out what it was, and that it was fake, and to find out what a narcissist truly is, and to accept the fact that you were with one, but also to how to come out and heal properly so you're replenished. But I'm very grateful for, even though she's not with me anymore, I'm very grateful for having that woman coming into my life because if anyone else told me that he was a narcissist, I would have defended my ex, completely. But the way she was able to approach me and have me understand things, I believed her, and I trusted her that she knows what she's doing, and saying, and everything she said. Of course, she was a life coach and a therapist, but if any one of my other friends said that he was a narcissist, I would have it would have been like, your friends, when you're going through a breakup, your friends just tell you, oh, he's an asshole, he doesn't deserve you. And like, statements like that you brush off, right? Because especially if you still want them back, So coming from her, it was the only reason that I started researching what a covert narcissist was and understanding it in order to heal myself. And she told me the things that I needed to hear and understand. And honestly, that's the only way that I found out that he, in fact, was a narcissist. Because if I didn't go through that with her and those talks with her, I probably would not have been able to heal at all from it. I still would have been probably longing for him and still not really knowing what had happened to my marriage. So it sent me down the path to understanding. And that's really important. And we all have our different stories and our different ways that we find out that we were a victim in a seemingly what seemed to be normal, happy marriage. And yeah, there's like, the tidal wave of stuff that go along with it to explain the innards of this type of relationship. But that was the day, like that was the moment I found out. And everything that has happened to me since kind of leads me back to that day, that first day. Because it's just as significant for me as the day that I met my ex and the day that he asked me for a divorce. And then the day that I found out he was a narcissist. Like all those 3 days are significant somehow. So I'm sorry I wasn't able to quite hold it together for everybody for this talk, but I wanted to share like that story about how I found out because it was an important day for me. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for listening to me. I'm glad that you guys have joined our tribe because we are all survivors post narcissist.